Hey, what's up? I want to talk about the pentatonic scale and all 5 of its shapes, right? There's the cage sequence, okay? We're all familiar with that. The C, the A, the G, the E, and the D, right? Shape. And the scales that follow those, right? But what if we broke this down even simpler and we just broke it down to 2 strings for a second? Let's take a look at the top string. The A minor pentatonic starts on the 5th fret, right? 5, 8. It's a 1, 4. If our fingers are 1, 2, 3, and 4, it's a 1, 4 on that top part of that minor pentatonic, right? Underneath that is going to be the 5, 7, or 1, 3, 5, 7, a 1, 3, 5, 7, another 1, 3, and then another 1, 4, 5, 8, and then another 5, 8, just like that. Okay, now the contrast of my freaking... Okay. I just got this new light, so it's kind of weird. So say for instance we've got this shape. It's a 1, 4, right? 1, 4, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, right? But instead of learning all 6 of those strings, let's break it down to 2 string patterns, okay? We're just going to look at the top string for a second. 1, 4, 1, 3, right? Play that forwards and backwards. Now not only play it, but close your eyes and feel that pattern. Now listen to the difference in the notes. Da 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 da. Can you sing that? Da 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 da. Now if you listen to the interval between the first and the second note, it sounds like Smoke on the Water. Bum, bum. Right? So those are the first 3 notes. Smoke on the Water. Bum, 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 bum. So you can use your ear along with your muscle memory and hear that interval. So for instance, if we take that and move it up to here, bum, 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 you know, just sing Smoke on the Water and you'll have that whole 1.5 step interval, or that 1, 4 and that 1, 3. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. So if you train your ear to remember Smoke on the Water, you can go ba 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 ba, and you can develop a memory with intervals, right? So as long as you have a song reference to every distance in between the notes, for instance, My Girl, right? By the Temptations, that's the major pentatonic scale. It's a whole step, and then so this is a 2-string pattern of the major scale. It's going to start here on the 8th fret. Where the pinky left off, or where that first one left off, this is where the major pentatonic is going to start with our 2nd finger, okay? So let's use our 2nd finger on the 8th fret, and then our pinky on the 10th fret. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, so that's how it's going to sound. The first 4 notes of My Girl from the Temptations. Bum, 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 bum. Right, so shut your eyes and play that shape forwards and backwards. Right? Play that over and over again. Get acquainted with that. So where you don't have to think about it, you don't have to look at your hands. You just know this number 2 pattern is a 2, 4, 1, 4. Right? Now let's go to right here on the 10th fret, and this is going to be the Dorian mode of the pentatonic scale. And that's going to be a 1, 3, 1, 3, okay? Okay, so here we have, let's go back to the first one. This is the minor pentatonic, the top 2 strings, 1, 4, 1, 3, or Smoke on the Water, ba 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 ba, and then My Girl starting on the 8th fret, do 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 do. Sing them before you play them and see if you can match it. This is called hand-ear coordination. Basically, you'll be able to sing the notes before you hit them. All right, now let's go to the 10th fret here, and we'll play 10, 12, 10, 12, or 1, 3, 1, 3, forwards and backwards. Shut your eyes. Get muscle memory going here. Don't think about it too much, okay? All right, now after that, on the 12th fret here, we're going to do the Phrygian mode of the pentatonic, which is going to be a 1-4-1-4, or 10-15, 10-15. So play that forwards and backwards. Now again, Smoke on the Water, bum, 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 except it's going to be bam, 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 bam. And you can think of Smoke on the Water again when you get down to here on this other 1-4. So anytime there's a whole step or a whole and a half step, okay, or a long, this is a long, it's going to be Smoke on the Water. See? So anytime you do a whole step, it's going to be My Girl. Anyway, hand-ear coordination is basically what I'm trying to illustrate here. So we've got the number 1 pattern, which is the trapezoid. If you look at this, it's a long on the top and a short on the bottom, so it creates like an angle here, right? And then there's a straight angle here, so right? Next up, we have a backwards trapezoid. This is going to be a reverse trapezoid. There's still an angle and then a right angle here. So it's 2-4-1-4. This is the major. Okay, this is the happy one. And then this is the bluesy one, or the sad one. Okay, so trapezoid 1, the minor trapezoid, and then the major is trapezoid 2. So 2 minor or minus 1 is 1. So trapezoid 1 is what we're going to call this shape. 1-4-1-3, forwards and backwards. Please do yourself a favor and learn these shapes, forwards and backwards, before you go on. Go here and put your second finger there and feel with your fingers these shapes. Right here we've got the 10th fret, a 1-3-1-3. We'll call this a square because it's 2 short patterns, right? And they're even, so it's a square, right? This one on the 12th fret, it's a 12-15, 12-15. We'll call this a rectangle because it's 2 long patterns. So the pentatonic basically consists of long patterns, a long and a short on the trapezoid, and then a short and a long on that one, and then 2 shorts, so that'll be a square, and then this will be a rectangle because it's 2 longs, right? So pentatonic can basically be, it's either a long or a short form with your fingers. Okay, now this also translates, this 10-15 translates to open 3 up here, as if we were pushing with our first finger here and creating 2 longs here. So that rectangle moves here to the open position, and where this leaves off is where we're going to play our last number 5 shape, which is also a square. It's 2 shorts. 1-3-1-3. So we got 1-3-1-3, 1-4-1-4, or open 3. But just to keep it congruent with our shapes, we have 2 longs here, 2 shorts here, a long and a short here on the 5-8, 5-7. And then on the 8-10, we have a short. Even though I'm using my second finger, it's only a short pattern there. And then our first finger drops in for a long pattern here. So that's your major pentatonic. Okay? So we're only doing 2 string patterns right now, okay? We're not going to get ahead of ourselves. So we got pattern number 1, trapezoid. Pattern number 2, trapezoid 2, which is the major. We got square 3. Then we got rectangle 4. And then we got square 5. Or square 5 is down here as well. And after square 5, we go back to 1 because there's only 5 notes in the pentatonic scale. So after 5 is pattern 1 again. So this order will not change. Five, 1, 2, 5, 3, 2, 1. After you develop your muscle memory here, this will be very easy to go from 1 to 5 to 4 to 5 to 3 to 4 to 2 to 1, 5, 2, and just skip around like that. But make sure you get the muscle memory down. You don't want to have to think about this. This needs to be second nature. And you also want to be able to sing ba ba ba, bum 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 bum. right? You want to sing these patterns as well. So stop this video for 1 second, pause it, and go back and learn that. Master that. The 1, trapezoid 1, the minor, trapezoid 2 starting on the 8th fret, the major, then square 3, rectangle 4, square 5, right? Make sure you master those, because what we're going to do right now is I'm going to show you how to use those shapes to master the entire fretboard. Check this out. Let's start on, say for instance, 3, the square, right? Right? And then what's south of that? The 2, right? And then what's south of that? The 1, right? Exactly. So the 1, 2, 3. Now let's start on the 3 here. And right below that 3, we're going to take that 2 and we're going to drop it right under that 3. So we're going to count backwards. 3, 2, and then we're going to play 1. So the reason why I told you to master these shapes without looking at your fingers is so that you wouldn't have to think twice about it when you drop them in. So let's take a look at 3, 2. 2 is going to drop in right there on the 10th fret. So it's going to be 10, 12, 10, 12 for that 3 shape. And then the 2 shape is going to drop in on the 10 for 2, 4, 1, 4. You follow me? You see that trapezoid right there? Right? That's that number 2 shape, right? And then what was just south of that? That 1 shape, right? So where that 1 left off, that 2 started, and then where that 2 left off, that 3 started. So here, we're gonna, instead of playing them backwards and forwards here, we're gonna stack them below each other, right? So we got 3, and then we got 2, and then we're gonna use the 10th fret for the 1 on the bottom string. So the top 2 strings are 1, 3, 1, 3, and then the shape number 2 drops in on those 2 middle strings, and then the 2 bottom strings is where 1's going to drop in. So we're doing a 3, 2, 1. Does that make sense? Leave a comment. Let me know if you're getting this so far. We're going to go on to the next level. 3, 2, 1. Now let's take, for instance, the major pattern. This is going to be the major pentatonic pattern. Starting on the 8th fret, we're going to play trapezoid 2, and then we're going to play trapezoid 1 under that. See that? And then under that, we're going to play 5. We're going to slide that underneath there. So it's going to be 2, 1, and 5. There's your pentatonic major. And it's all broken down into little blocks, little Tetris blocks. You didn't have to master all 5 of the strings. You didn't have to remember the cage sequence. In fact, it's better because you know which ones are in front of each other. You got 1, 2, 5, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2. If you close your eyes and use your muscle memory, you can feel your way around this. You don't have to look at your hands. So once you master those 5 shapes, like you already have, you just stack them on top of each other. The previous one under that. So let's take a look at pentatonic minor on the 5th fret. This is in the key of A, right? So we got trapezoid 1, and then we're going to take 5 and drop that under there. And then we're going to take 4, the 2 longs, the rectangle, and drop that under there. You see that? 1, 5, 4. Running out of batteries here. 1, 5, 4. You follow that? Does that make sense? Okay. I hope so. If not, leave a comment. I'll be glad to do this again. Or you can even we'll set up a video chat call and I'll show you live. I'll go at your pace. So I apologize if I'm going too fast, but basically what I want you to do is pause the video anytime you're not so sure of any of these shapes. Okay, so next up, we're going to play the 4th pattern, right? What's going to be underneath 4? 3. That's right. That square. So we're going to drop that square right there. What's going to be underneath that? That's right, the 2. Right there. It's going to drop right in. And there's no sense in sliding. You don't have to slide like you did over here on this number 3 pattern. You'll notice on the number 3 pattern, you played the 3, but you had to move your finger over to play that 2 true to its original shape. And then you had to step over a half step to the 10th fret to play the 1 pattern. So that was a little tricky right there on that 3, 2, 1 pattern. If that's a little confusing, leave me a comment, I'll explain. So we're gonna go to 4 here. 4 or rectangle, 3 is a square, and then 2 is the trapezoid 2, the major trapezoid. And check this out, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. It's always going to stay in that order. 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. Exactly. So I don't know if this is making sense. I hope it is. But basically I'm trying to show you an alternate way to master this fretboard. Because when you're playing a lead, and you're in the middle of the 4 or the 2 longs, you know that there's a 5 below that. I mean a 4, and then a 3, and then a 2, and then a 1, and then a 5, back to 4. So this order never changes. It's always going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So anytime you can count forward and backward on these shapes, like for instance, if you start on a 5, it's going to be 5, 1, 2, 3. Wait, 5, 1, 2, 3, which a 2 is going to be that. Anytime there's a 2, it's going to be that major shape. Anytime there's a 3, it's going to be that square. Anytime you're on a 4, it's going to be that rectangle. Anytime you're on a 5, it's going to be that square again. Back to the 1. Trapezoid 1, minor trapezoid. So anytime you're on a 1, it's a minor. Anytime you're on a 2, it's a major. So the relative major to the minor is simply a long distance away, just a 1, 4 away. So C major is going to be relative to A minor. Or let's say A minor, or A major is going to be relative to F sharp minor. Just take your 2 fingers and slide them with 2 frets in between, and there's your key. Here you go. You got G, the pinky's on G. That means that E is going to be the relative minor. G major is relative to E minor. D major is relative to B minor. Does that make sense? I thought it did. Anyway, so there you go. You've got 5 shapes that you've mastered on the 2 top strings with your muscle memory, and you listened, and you shut your eyes, and you mastered these, right? And you don't have to think about them anymore because they're glued into your memory. Now all you have to do is just stack them underneath each other. Oops, I messed up. I'm still prone to make errors, but the theory is there and it simplifies it for you. So if you're ever going to move to a different key instead of A minor, you're going to be in D minor, you're going to play 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Right? So under 1 is going to be 5, under 5 is going to be 4. 4 is going to be next to 3, which is next to 2, which is next to 1. Cool? Awesome. Now you want to convert that to the blues scale, just take the 1, 3, the top of the 1, 3, and add that middle note. There's your blues scale. So that 3 pops up on the 1, the minor, right there. See? So the pentatonic minor, the shape number 1 trapezoid, has the 1, 2, 3 underneath that. That's what the blues scale is. So anytime you find a 3, there's going to be a note in between, a passing note for the blues scale. So we're coming up on 20 minutes now. I think we've done every pattern except for 5. 5, the square 5. Underneath that, we're gonna have to shift over to play 4 because we got to stay true to this wall here, right? So we've got 5, step over a half step and play the 1, 4, 1, 4, and then step back over a half step to play the 1, 3. Remember the 3 has the passing note? You can use that passing note to keep you in the blues scale. Does that make sense? I hope so. Leave some comments. Let me know if this made sense. I can explain it slower or even in more detail. But the key is to master the top 2 strings and the order of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then be able to play them backwards, skip around, right? and just know them forwards and backwards. You can even count forward as you play this pentatonic scale, because you got shape 1, and then shape 5, and then shape 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2. And anytime you're on a 1, it's going to be a 1, 4. Anytime you're on a 4, it's going to be a 1, 4. So remember that. Those are the only 2 spots you're going to have along. Cool? Later.